Picture this. You're a passionate entrepreneur, and after months of hard work and late nights, you finally have the chance to land a lucrative contract that could elevate your business. The deadline is tight, and the stakes are high. You've meticulously planned your days, carving out blocks of focus time to finalize your pitch and ensure every detail is perfect. You can almost see the celebration once you secure that deal. But just as you're getting into the groove of productivity, your phone buzzes with a message from a friend. "Hey, we're having a get-together tonight. You should come. It'll be fun." You hesitate for a moment, knowing you should be working, but you think to yourself, "It's just one night. I can make up for it tomorrow." So you agree, convincing yourself it's a well-deserved break and that you can squeeze in extra work later. Fast forward to the next day, you wake up feeling sluggish. The night of fun turned into a late one, filled with laughter, food, and maybe a few too many drinks. Now, the clarity and focus you had planned for are replaced by a headache and the anxiety of a looming deadline. You sit down to work, but find your thoughts scattered, your energy drained. Hours slip by, and you realize the project is still not where it needs to be. As the deadline approaches, you scramble to get everything done, but the quality of your work isn't what you had hoped for. You pull an all-nighter, frantically trying to polish your presentation, but the fatigue weighs heavy on your creativity and productivity. Finally, the day arrives for your pitch. You walk into the meeting feeling unprepared and anxious. Your heart races as you present your ideas, but you can sense that something is off. The energy in the room is different than you envisioned. And when it's over, you leave feeling a sense of dread. Days later, you receive the news. They've chosen another vendor. Your heart sinks. You realize that the missed opportunity wasn't just about the contract. It was a culmination of choices made in the weeks leading up to it. Choices to prioritize social interactions over your professional goals. The disappointment stings not just because you lost a contract, but because you know you could have done better if you hadn't allowed distractions to pull you away from your purpose. This scenario is all too familiar for many of us. We often give in to the pressure of socializing, thinking it's just harmless fun, but those seemingly innocent outings can lead to missed deadlines, lost opportunities, and regret. Friends are important, but when we prioritize social engagements over our goals, we risk compromising our future. In today's video, we're going to explore 8 reasons why you should stop visiting your friends so often. These reasons aren't just random observations. They stem from real-life experiences and lessons that can help you avoid the pitfalls of distraction and peer pressure. If you've ever felt torn between spending time with friends and achieving your personal goals, you're not alone. We'll discuss how to recognize when friendships may be becoming a distraction and provide you with practical strategies to regain control of your time and focus. It's not about severing ties or being antisocial. It's about finding balance. You can maintain your friendships while also prioritizing your aspirations. After all, the journey towards success requires us to make conscious choices about how we spend our time and energy. So, if you've ever lost out on an opportunity because of social distractions, stay tuned. We'll help you reclaim your focus and guide you on how to live a life aligned with your goals while still nurturing meaningful relationships. Let's get started. Number 1. Lack of focus on goals. Alexander Graham Bell's journey to inventing the telephone is an excellent example of how social distractions can undermine focus on achieving goals. Bell's ability to stay disciplined and minimize social engagements mirrors many Stoic teachings about prioritizing what truly matters in life. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, emphasized the importance of focusing on what we can control and not being swayed by external distractions. In Bell's case, he had to make the hard decision of distancing himself from social visits in order to focus on his invention. This act of self-discipline is a perfect reflection of Stoic values. Bell's early fascination with sound and communication started from a personal place. His mother and wife were both deaf, which fueled his desire to help the hearing impaired. His initial goal was to create devices that would assist people with hearing challenges, but this later evolved into his work on the telephone. Bell's determination to solve these complex problems required an immense amount of focus, time, and energy. He realized that to reach this ambitious goal, he couldn't afford to waste time on unnecessary social visits or leisurely activities, which the Stoics would argue are distractions that pull us away from living according to reason and purpose. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is understanding the dichotomy of control, what is within our control and what is not. For Bell, this meant recognizing that the progress of his invention was entirely within his control, while the distractions presented by social interactions were external and unnecessary. The Stoics taught that we must focus on what we can actively influence and let go of things that do not contribute to our ultimate purpose. Bell embodied this principle by limiting his engagement with friends, knowing that too much socialization could derail his progress on his invention. There's a famous story of Bell working late into the night, constantly refining his designs, testing prototypes, and pushing forward with relentless focus. His friends, noticing how absorbed he had become in his work, often invited him out or encouraged him to take breaks and join them in social activities. However, Bell consistently declined, understanding that his primary goal, the telephone, required his undivided attention. From a Stoic perspective, this was Bell practicing the virtue of temperance, choosing moderation in his social life to better align with his ultimate aim. Bell's ability to say no to social distractions is a perfect example of the Stoic idea of living according to one's nature and purpose. For the Stoics, our primary task is to identify our purpose and commit to it fully without letting external influences sway us from that path. Bell recognized that his nature was that of an inventor, a problem solver, and that every moment spent away from his experiments was a moment lost in his pursuit of creating something revolutionary. By staying focused on his goal, Bell was able to make extraordinary progress, eventually changing the course of history with his invention. Stoicism also teaches the importance of practicing detachment from things that do not contribute to one's goals. Friends and social events, while valuable in their own right, can sometimes become a source of distraction. For Bell, socializing too much would have meant sacrificing the progress he needed to make in his work. By detaching himself from these distractions, he embraced the Stoic ideal of focusing only on what serves his higher purpose. This form of discipline is something many of us struggle with, but it's crucial if we want to accomplish significant achievements in life. Another Stoic teaching that resonates with Bell's experience is the idea of endurance. The Stoics believed that challenges and hardships are inevitable, and it's through enduring these trials that we grow and achieve our goals. Bell's journey was far from easy. He faced countless failures and setbacks in his experiments, and it would have been tempting to seek comfort in the company of friends as an escape from the frustrations of his work. But like a true Stoic, Bell endured these challenges alone, knowing that enduring the discomfort of isolation and hard work was necessary for the greater success he sought. The Stoics also valued time as one of the most precious resources, something that should not be wasted. Bell understood this deeply. Time spent visiting friends, attending parties, or engaging in trivial social matters was time he could be spending perfecting his invention. By focusing on how he spent each moment, Bell followed the Stoic belief that time should be devoted to meaningful, purposeful actions that align with one's goals. This focus on the present moment and using it wisely is a key Stoic concept that enabled Bell to push forward toward his monumental achievement. Moreover, the Stoics taught that one must be self-reliant, drawing strength from within rather than relying on external validation or support. Bell embodied this principle by relying on his own determination and inner drive to keep going, even when others around him were not fully supportive of his intense focus on work. The telephone was a vision that only Bell truly understood, and he knew that only by remaining self-disciplined and avoiding unnecessary distractions could he make that vision a reality. His ability to stay grounded in his purpose without needing constant social reinforcement is a reflection of Stoic self-reliance. In the end, Alexander Graham Bell's dedication to his work and his ability to limit social distractions serves as a perfect illustration of Stoic principles in action. By focusing on what he could control, practicing temperance, enduring hardships, and valuing time, Bell was able to achieve his goal and change the world. His story is a reminder that, like the Stoics taught, sometimes the greatest achievements come when we have the discipline to say no to distractions and remain committed to our higher purpose. Number 2. Emotional dependency. Visiting friends can seem like a harmless or even necessary part of life, but when it becomes a habitual escape or a way to fulfill emotional needs, it can quickly lead to a form of dependency. Emotional dependency on friends can subtly erode our ability to find strength within ourselves, a notion that Stoicism warns us about. The teachings of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca remind us to cultivate inner resilience and not rely on others for emotional stability. When visiting friends becomes a coping mechanism, we lose touch with the Stoic ideal of self-sufficiency, and this diminishes our personal growth. Thomas Edison, the famous inventor, serves as a valuable example of someone who avoided emotional dependency on others, focusing instead on his goals. Edison spent much of his time in solitude, dedicating his energy to his work. He was known for working long hours and even sleeping in his laboratory, cutting off unnecessary social interactions. Edison understood that dependence on external validation, even from friends, could pull him away from his greater purpose. By limiting his social engagements, he preserved his energy and focus, ensuring that his inventions and ideas remained the priority. This behavior aligns with the Stoic principle of self-mastery, of relying on one's internal strength rather than seeking comfort or affirmation from others. Stoicism encourages us to find peace within ourselves, not through external factors like friendships or social interactions. When we visit friends to ease our emotions or seek reassurance, we are giving away our power. In Stoic thought, this external reliance is seen as a weakness because it places our emotional state in the hands of others. We become reactive to how others treat us or how much attention they give, rather than being grounded in our own sense of self. Friends, while valuable, should not become a crutch for emotional stability. If we visit them to fill a void or to avoid being alone with our thoughts, we are drifting further away from the Stoic ideal of self-reliance. Edison's relentless focus on his work demonstrates how avoiding emotional dependency can lead to extraordinary results. He was not swayed by the need to connect emotionally with others or seek comfort through friendships. His solitude allowed him to think deeply and innovate in ways that would have been impossible had he been distracted by constant social interactions. This is not to say that Edison avoided people entirely. Rather, he was deliberate in how and when he engaged with others. This selective approach mirrors the Stoic philosophy of maintaining control over one's life and choosing relationships and actions that align with personal values and goals. Emotional dependency on friends also weakens our ability to confront and overcome personal challenges. When we constantly turn to others for comfort, we miss the opportunity to develop emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches that adversity is a necessary part of life and that facing difficulties head-on helps us grow stronger. If we visit friends every time we feel anxious or overwhelmed, we are avoiding the very challenges that can help us build inner strength. Edison's life was filled with failure and setbacks, but instead of seeking emotional support from others, he focused on learning from his mistakes and pushing forward. His determination came from within, and this internal drive allowed him to persevere where others might have given up. Another aspect of Stoicism is the emphasis on controlling what is within our power. Visiting friends for emotional support often involves seeking control over something outside of ourselves, whether it's their attention, validation, or advice. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control how others will respond to us, nor should we depend on them for our emotional well-being. Thomas Edison did not wait for others to validate his ideas or comfort him during moments of doubt. He understood that his success hinged on his ability to remain focused and internally motivated, regardless of what others thought or said. By avoiding emotional dependency, Edison maintained control over his emotions and actions, which ultimately led to his remarkable achievements. Moreover, emotional dependency can cloud our judgment, making us more susceptible to poor decisions. When we rely on friends to regulate our emotions, we may be less critical of how these interactions affect our mental clarity. In Stoicism, clarity of mind is crucial for making rational decisions that align with our goals and values. Constantly seeking emotional support from friends can blur the line between what is truly important and what is merely a temporary relief. Edison's ability to remain clear-headed during intense periods of work was a direct result of his independence. He did not allow his emotional state to be swayed by external factors, ensuring that his decisions were guided by logic and purpose, not by the need for emotional validation. There is also a danger of becoming too emotionally invested in friendships, to the point where we start to prioritize these relationships over our personal goals. Stoicism teaches us to be mindful of how much we give to others, especially when it comes at the expense of our own growth. If visiting friends becomes a way to avoid our responsibilities or personal aspirations, we are doing ourselves a disservice. Edison's commitment to his work was unwavering, and this required him to set boundaries with others. By keeping emotional ties in check, he was able to devote his time and energy to what mattered most, his inventions. This level of commitment is a reminder that true success often requires us to distance ourselves from emotional dependencies. Edison's approach to life embodies the Stoic principle of apatheia, the state of being free from emotional disturbances. By not allowing himself to become emotionally dependent on others, he maintained a sense of inner calm and focus. Stoicism advocates for this kind of emotional detachment, not as a way to isolate oneself, but as a method of cultivating inner peace and resilience. Visiting friends too frequently, especially for emotional comfort, can lead to the opposite effect, where our emotions become entangled in others' opinions, actions, and moods. Edison's solitude gave him the space to think clearly and act decisively, free from the emotional distractions that often come with dependency on others. Subscribe to Stoic Strength Quest for practical insights on living a disciplined, purpose-driven life. Unlock ancient Stoic wisdom to strengthen your mindset, improve focus, and achieve your goals. Join our journey of self-mastery and personal growth today. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell. Number 3. Unhealthy influences. One of the most overlooked obstacles to personal growth is the influence of friends who may not share the same values or vision for life. While we often seek companionship in those around us, Stoicism teaches us to be cautious of the company we keep. The people we surround ourselves with can either elevate or detract from our potential. Friends who exert unhealthy influences, whether through their habits, mindset, or attitudes, can pull us away from our goals. When we continue to visit and spend time with such individuals, we risk compromising our own progress in life. Henry Ford, the pioneering industrialist and founder of the Ford Motor Company, exemplifies the importance of distancing oneself from unhealthy influences to focus on a higher purpose. Ford understood that to bring his revolutionary ideas into reality, he had to guard his time and be selective about who he associated with. His intense drive to create the assembly line, a radical innovation at the time, required not just mental and physical energy, but also a clear vision free from the distractions and negativity that can arise from the wrong social connections. Ford's success was built on his ability to focus on his goals, undeterred by those who didn't share his forward-thinking mindset. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of prudence, or practical wisdom, in daily life. A large part of this wisdom involves recognizing which relationships serve our higher purpose and which do not. Unhealthy influences from friends can come in many forms: negative thinking, bad habits, or simply a lack of ambition. These qualities, if present in those we spend time with, can subtly begin to affect our own mindset. When we regularly visit friends who are indifferent to personal growth or even dismissive of our aspirations, we expose ourselves to an environment where mediocrity thrives. In such settings, our goals may start to seem less urgent or less achievable, simply because the people around us do not value them. Henry Ford faced significant skepticism when he set out to revolutionize manufacturing. Many of his contemporaries thought his ideas were too radical or destined for failure. However, Ford chose to surround himself with people who supported his vision, limiting his interaction with those who doubted or criticized his approach. He understood that spending too much time with people who did not share his drive would only hinder his progress. This mindset aligns perfectly with the Stoic teaching that we should be mindful of the company we keep, ensuring that it reinforces rather than undermines our pursuit of excellence. It's not just direct criticism or skepticism that can become an unhealthy influence. Sometimes it is more subtle. Friends with negative habits, whether it's a lack of discipline, indulgence in excesses, or a tendency toward laziness, can indirectly pull us off course. Stoicism advocates for self-discipline and moderation in all things, recognizing that excess leads to imbalance. When we visit friends who live in a way that contradicts these principles, we can easily get drawn into their habits. Their lack of discipline can start to affect us, making it more difficult to maintain our focus and commitment to what truly matters. Henry Ford avoided this pitfall by choosing to distance himself from such influences, ensuring that his energy remained directed toward his goals. Moreover, unhealthy influences from friends can distort our perception of what is possible. If the people we associate with have a limited view of success or are content with mediocrity, we may start to adopt those same limitations. Stoicism teaches us to aim high, focusing on personal excellence rather than comparing ourselves to the standards set by others. However, if we continually visit friends who lack ambition or who settle for less, our perception of what we can achieve may shrink to match theirs. Henry Ford did not allow himself to be confined by the expectations of his peers. He broke free from conventional thinking, allowing himself to imagine a new way of manufacturing that would change the world. This clarity of vision was possible because he chose not to let the narrow views of others influence his thinking. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the concept of virtue, which includes wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. Friends who do not embody these virtues can have a corrosive effect on our own character. When we spend too much time with people who lack wisdom or self-discipline, we may find ourselves making compromises in our own behavior. This is why the Stoics, particularly Epictetus, urged individuals to be highly selective about their relationships, knowing that the people we surround ourselves with can either help us grow in virtue or lead us astray. Ford's decision to avoid those who doubted his abilities or who lived without discipline was, in many ways, a Stoic choice. He ensured that his relationships supported his pursuit of excellence and did not detract from his vision. Unhealthy influences are often not immediately obvious. Sometimes they come in the form of subtle peer pressure or a desire to fit in with a particular social group. Stoicism encourages us to be true to ourselves and to prioritize our own growth over the approval of others. If visiting friends regularly leads us to compromise our values or pursue activities that are contrary to our goals, we are straying from the Stoic path. Ford did not seek the approval of others when he decided to break the mold in manufacturing. He followed his own path, even when it meant distancing himself from those who did not understand or support his vision. It's also important to recognize that unhealthy influences can create emotional turbulence, another area where Stoicism offers valuable guidance. Friends who bring negativity, drama, or instability into our lives can disturb our inner peace. Stoicism teaches that we should strive for emotional equanimity, remaining calm and centered regardless of external circumstances. Visiting friends who consistently bring chaos or conflict into our lives makes it harder to maintain this calm. Ford, known for his ability to stay focused under pressure, likely understood the importance of minimizing emotional distractions. By keeping his distance from those who created unnecessary turbulence, he was able to maintain the focus necessary to achieve his goals. Ultimately, Henry Ford's success was not just the result of his technical brilliance, but also his ability to filter out the noise and negativity of unhealthy influences. His story serves as a reminder that visiting friends too frequently, especially those who do not share our vision or values, can hinder our progress. Stoicism teaches us to be mindful of our relationships and to ensure that the people we surround ourselves with help us grow in wisdom, self-discipline, and virtue. By following Ford's example and limiting our exposure to unhealthy influences, we can maintain the clarity and focus necessary to achieve our highest potential. Subscribe to Stoic Strength Quest for practical insights on living a disciplined, purpose-driven life. Unlock ancient Stoic wisdom to strengthen your mindset, improve focus, and achieve your goals. Join our journey of self-mastery and personal growth today. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell. Number 4. Time management. When we consider how we manage our time, it becomes clear that constant visits to friends can erode the hours we have for personal growth and pursuing our goals. Stoicism teaches us to value time as one of our most precious resources and to use it wisely in pursuit of a meaningful life. Spending excessive time with friends, especially when the gatherings are not purposeful, leads to a gradual loss of focus. The Stoic approach to life emphasizes discipline, clarity of purpose, and the wise allocation of time. When we fail to manage our time well, we lose the opportunity to achieve what truly matters. Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, is an excellent example of someone who mastered the art of time management in order to make a monumental contribution to society. His work required long periods of focus and dedication, which he could not have achieved if he was constantly distracted by social engagements. Berners-Lee knew that creating something as revolutionary as the web demanded not just technical skill, but a disciplined approach to managing his time. He prioritized his work and avoided unnecessary distractions, including excessive socializing, which allowed him to fully devote himself to his vision. This aligns with the Stoic teaching of focusing on what is essential and eliminating the superfluous. Stoicism encourages us to live each day with intention, constantly asking ourselves whether what we are doing contributes to our overall purpose. Visiting friends too frequently can easily become a way to procrastinate or avoid the discomfort of focused work. While social interaction is valuable, when it becomes a routine distraction, it undermines our ability to make progress. Berners-Lee was successful not only because of his technical expertise, but because he made deliberate choices about how to spend his time. By limiting the time he spent on non-essential activities, he was able to create something that transformed the world. This kind of focus and intentionality is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The Stoic principle of memento mori, or the reminder that our time is limited, urges us to be mindful of how we spend each day. We often take time for granted, assuming there will always be more of it. But the Stoics remind us that every moment counts. Constantly visiting friends, especially when these visits do not align with our greater purpose, can waste the very time we need to pursue meaningful work. Berners-Lee did not achieve his groundbreaking invention by chance. It was the result of years of focused effort and a clear understanding of how to allocate his time. He likely recognized that to create something truly significant, he had to guard his time fiercely, a lesson that resonates with the Stoic approach to life. Another key Stoic teaching is the idea of self-discipline, which is necessary for effective time management. Friends, while valuable, can sometimes pull us away from the discipline required to achieve our goals. Social visits, especially when frequent, can disrupt the structure of our days, making it harder to stick to routines or dedicate uninterrupted time to important tasks. Berners-Lee maintained the discipline needed to turn his vision into reality by prioritizing his work over distractions. Stoicism reminds us that true freedom comes from self-mastery, and part of mastering oneself is learning to say no to activities that do not serve our highest purpose. Limiting unnecessary social visits is one way to practice this discipline. Stoicism also teaches us to take responsibility for our time and to recognize that we are the stewards of how we use it. When we continually visit friends without clear purpose, we are essentially giving away the most valuable asset we have. Berners-Lee's success was rooted in his ability to take full responsibility for his time, understanding that no one else would prioritize his goals for him. This sense of personal accountability is central to Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that our lives are shaped by the choices we make, and that includes how we choose to spend our time. By being mindful of this, we can ensure that our actions align with our deeper purpose rather than being dictated by external distractions. Number 5. Draining energy. Visiting friends too often can deplete your energy, both physically and mentally. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of preserving our energy for pursuits that align with our higher purpose. When we engage in frequent social interactions that lack meaningful purpose, we expend energy that could be better used toward personal growth or important projects. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius remind us that our time and energy are finite resources, and wasting them on distractions, including constant visits with friends, pulls us away from what truly matters. James Watt, the inventor who greatly improved the steam engine, serves as an example of someone who understood the value of conserving energy for focused work. Watt's invention revolutionized industries and laid the foundation for the Industrial Revolution, but such an achievement required an immense amount of energy, time, and concentration. Watt, like any great innovator, had to be selective about how he spent his energy. If he had allowed himself to be drained by unnecessary social engagements or distractions, he likely would not have had the capacity to focus on the task at hand. This is closely tied to the Stoic principle of conservation of energy, ensuring that our mental and physical resources are directed toward activities that contribute to our purpose. Stoicism teaches that we should be mindful of how external factors affect our internal state. Friends, though well-intentioned, can sometimes drain us of the energy we need to pursue our goals. Social interactions, especially when they are frequent or lack depth, can leave us feeling exhausted or distracted from our true focus. This can lead to a cycle where we visit friends as a way to relax or escape, only to find ourselves more drained afterward. Watt likely knew that his energy had to be preserved for deep, uninterrupted work, and the Stoics would agree with this approach. By limiting the amount of time spent on non-essential activities, he was able to harness his energy for the monumental task of innovation. Another key Stoic principle is the idea of self-control. When we frequently visit friends, we may feel obligated to engage in social activities that drain us or consume more energy than we intended. Stoicism encourages us to take control of our actions and ensure that we are not swayed by external pressures or distractions. Watt likely exercised this type of self-control, choosing to focus on his work rather than give in to the temptation of constant socializing. The Stoics teach that true power comes from mastering oneself, and part of this mastery involves knowing when to step back from activities that deplete our energy. We also see the importance of purposeful action in Stoic teachings. Every action we take should be aligned with our higher goals and values. When we visit friends too often, without a clear purpose, we may be engaging in activities that are not aligned with what we truly want to achieve. Watt's success was no accident. It was the result of purposeful, concentrated effort. He understood that his energy was a limited resource and that it had to be channeled into his work, not scattered across unnecessary distractions. This mindset aligns with Stoic philosophy, which urges us to focus our energy on what truly matters and to avoid actions that do not serve our greater purpose. Number 6. Draining energy. Visiting friends too often can deplete your energy, both physically and mentally. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of preserving our energy for pursuits that align with our higher purpose. When we engage in frequent social interactions that lack meaningful purpose, we expend energy that could be better used toward personal growth or important projects. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius remind us that our time and energy are finite resources, and wasting them on distractions, including constant visits with friends, pulls us away from what truly matters. James Watt, the inventor who greatly improved the steam engine, serves as an example of someone who understood the value of conserving energy for focused work. Watt's invention revolutionized industries and laid the foundation for the Industrial Revolution, but such an achievement required an immense amount of energy, time, and concentration. Watt, like any great innovator, had to be selective about how he spent his energy. If he had allowed himself to be drained by unnecessary social engagements or distractions, he likely would not have had the capacity to focus on the task at hand. This is closely tied to the Stoic principle of conservation of energy, ensuring that our mental and physical resources are directed toward activities that contribute to our purpose. Stoicism teaches that we should be mindful of how external factors affect our internal state. Friends, though well-intentioned, can sometimes drain us of the energy we need to pursue our goals. Social interactions, especially when they are frequent or lack depth, can leave us feeling exhausted or distracted from our true focus. This can lead to a cycle where we visit friends as a way to relax or escape, only to find ourselves more drained afterward. Watt likely knew that his energy had to be preserved for deep, uninterrupted work, and the Stoics would agree with this approach. By limiting the amount of time spent on non-essential activities, he was able to harness his energy for the monumental task of innovation. Another key Stoic principle is the idea of self-control. When we frequently visit friends, we may feel obligated to engage in social activities that drain us or consume more energy than we intended. Stoicism encourages us to take control of our actions and ensure that we are not swayed by external pressures or distractions. Watt likely exercised this type of self-control, choosing to focus on his work rather than give in to the temptation of constant socializing. The Stoics teach that true power comes from mastering oneself, and part of this mastery involves knowing when to step back from activities that deplete our energy. We also see the importance of purposeful action in Stoic teachings. Every action we take should be aligned with our higher goals and values. When we visit friends too often, without a clear purpose, we may be engaging in activities that are not aligned with what we truly want to achieve. Watt's success was no accident. It was the result of purposeful, concentrated effort. He understood that his energy was a limited resource and that it had to be channeled into his work, not scattered across unnecessary distractions. This mindset aligns with Stoic philosophy, which urges us to focus our energy on what truly matters and to avoid actions that do not serve our greater purpose. Number 6. Draining energy. Visiting friends too often can deplete your energy, both physically and mentally. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of preserving our energy for pursuits that align with our higher purpose. When we engage in frequent social interactions that lack meaningful purpose, we expend energy that could be better used toward personal growth or important projects. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius remind us that our time and energy are finite resources, and wasting them on distractions, including constant visits with friends, pulls us away from what truly matters. James Watt, the inventor who greatly improved the steam engine, serves as an example of someone who understood the value of conserving energy for focused work. Watt's invention revolutionized industries and laid the foundation for the Industrial Revolution, but such an achievement required an immense amount of energy, time, and concentration. Watt, like any great innovator, had to be selective about how he spent his energy. If he had allowed himself to be drained by unnecessary social engagements or distractions, he likely would not have had the capacity to focus on the task at hand. This is closely tied to the Stoic principle of conservation of energy, ensuring that our mental and physical resources are directed toward activities that contribute to our purpose. Stoicism teaches that we should be mindful of how external factors affect our internal state. Friends, though well-intentioned, can sometimes drain us of the energy we need to pursue our goals. Social interactions, especially when they are frequent or lack depth, can leave us feeling exhausted or distracted from our true focus. This can lead to a cycle where we visit friends as a way to relax or escape, only to find ourselves more drained afterward. Watt likely knew that his energy had to be preserved for deep, uninterrupted work, and the Stoics would agree with this approach. By limiting the amount of time spent on non-essential activities, he was able to harness his energy for the monumental task of innovation. We also see the importance of purposeful action in Stoic teachings. Every action we take should be aligned with our higher goals and values. When we visit friends too often, without a clear purpose, we may be engaging in activities that are not aligned with what we truly want to achieve. Watt's success was no accident. It was the result of purposeful, concentrated effort. He understood that his energy was a limited resource and that it had to be channeled into his work, not scattered across unnecessary distractions. This mindset aligns with Stoic philosophy, which urges us to focus our energy on what truly matters and to avoid actions that do not serve our greater purpose. Number 7. Unhealthy influences. When we look at the company we keep, it's essential to recognize the impact friends can have on our thoughts, actions, and overall progress in life. Stoicism teaches us that the influences around us shape our character and mindset. If those influences are unhealthy, they can steer us off course, away from our goals and higher purpose. Visiting friends who exert negative or unproductive influences can become a significant obstacle to personal growth. Unhealthy influences can subtly infiltrate our behavior, and before long, we may find ourselves drifting from our path. It's a matter of prudence to recognize when relationships hinder rather than help. Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor known for his groundbreaking work in electricity and magnetism, understood the importance of protecting his mental and emotional environment from negative influences. Tesla was fiercely dedicated to his work, often sacrificing social engagements in order to maintain the level of focus required to innovate. He was known to be highly selective about his interactions, understanding that the wrong kind of influences could distract him from his vision. Tesla's life serves as an example of how someone who prioritizes their purpose can avoid the pitfalls of unhealthy relationships that sap energy, focus, and drive. Stoicism teaches us to be vigilant about the company we keep because people can unconsciously shape our values and habits. Friends who embody negative traits such as laziness, pessimism, or a lack of ambition can subtly affect our mindset. If we spend too much time with such individuals, we may begin to lower our own standards without even realizing it. Tesla knew that he could not afford to let the negativity of others seep into his thinking. His inventions were the result of relentless work and intense focus, something that could not be sustained if he allowed unhealthy influences to take root in his life. The Stoic principle of practical wisdom, knowing what is good, what is bad, and what is indifferent, applies directly to the relationships we maintain. Visiting friends who engage in habits or thinking that conflict with our values can dilute our own clarity of purpose. Tesla had a deep understanding of his own mission and avoided social distractions that could pull him away from it. He recognized that the opinions of others, particularly those who doubted his work, were irrelevant to his progress. This is a Stoic mindset. Knowing that external influences do not define who we are or what we can achieve. What matters is maintaining our internal compass, guided by reason and purpose. Negative influences often come in subtle forms. Friends who may not outwardly criticize our goals, but who live in ways that contradict our values. Tesla surrounded himself with like-minded individuals, often working in isolation to protect his creative space. He understood that spending too much time with people who didn't share his vision could be detrimental to his progress. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of self-discipline and moderation, recognizing that excess in any form can lead to imbalance. Frequent visits with friends who engage in unhealthy behaviors, whether it's overindulgence, procrastination, or gossip, can lead us to mirror those behaviors. Tesla, known for his disciplined lifestyle, often worked late into the night, avoiding frivolous social engagements that did not align with his goals. Stoicism teaches that discipline is key to achieving excellence. By reducing the time spent with unhealthy influences, we preserve our discipline and remain committed to our goals, just as Tesla did throughout his career. Finally, the Stoics urge us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. We cannot control the behavior of our friends, but we can control the time we spend with them and the influence they have over us. Tesla's genius came not just from his intellect, but from his ability to maintain control over his environment, limiting distractions and negative influences that could derail his progress. In the same way, we must be mindful of the energy and mindset we absorb from those around us. By applying Stoic principles to our relationships, we can ensure that the people we associate with elevate rather than hinder us, helping us to stay aligned with our purpose and live a life of intention and excellence. Subscribe to Stoic Strength Quest for practical insights on living a disciplined, purpose-driven life. Unlock ancient Stoic wisdom to strengthen your mindset, improve focus, and achieve your goals. Join our journey of self-mastery and personal growth today. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell. Number 8. Peer pressure. Peer pressure can often pull us away from our path, leading us to make choices that do not align with our values or long-term goals. Stoicism teaches that we should act according to reason, not according to the opinions or expectations of others. When we visit friends too often, we can become susceptible to the pressures they impose, consciously or unconsciously, steering us away from what we truly want to achieve. Peer pressure, even when subtle, can lead to distractions, wasted time, and actions that conflict with our higher purpose. Guglielmo Marconi, the inventor credited with developing radio transmission, provides an example of someone who resisted peer pressure to focus on his vision. Marconi was often met with skepticism and doubt from those around him. Many believed that his work on long-distance radio waves was a futile effort. However, Marconi didn't allow the doubts and dismissive attitudes of his peers to derail his work. He was deeply focused on his goal and remained impervious to the pressure from others to give up or pursue a more conventional path. This mirrors the Stoic mindset of pursuing one's purpose despite external opinions. The Stoic principle of autokeia, or self-sufficiency, applies well here. Stoicism encourages us to be internally grounded, relying on our own judgment rather than seeking approval or validation from others. When we spend too much time with friends who do not share or understand our values, we can easily begin to seek their approval, often leading us to make choices that conflict with our goals. Marconi's success came from his ability to stand alone in his convictions, pushing forward with his work regardless of the external pressure. This reflects the Stoic belief in remaining self-sufficient and not letting others dictate our actions. Visiting friends often can make it difficult to resist the pull of group thinking, where peer pressure leads us to conform rather than stand firm in our beliefs. Friends might unintentionally pressure us to engage in behaviors or activities that divert our energy from important tasks. For Marconi, surrounding himself with like-minded individuals who supported his vision was crucial. Stoicism teaches that we must surround ourselves with people who uplift and align with our values, rather than those who pressure us to conform to theirs. By limiting unnecessary visits, we create space to remain true to our own goals and desires. The Stoic idea of virtue, living in alignment with reason and purpose, is critical when dealing with peer pressure. When we act out of fear of judgment or desire for acceptance, we stray from our virtuous path. Marconi's commitment to his work in the face of doubt and pressure from his peers shows how staying rooted in one's purpose leads to remarkable achievements. Stoicism encourages us to act in accordance with our internal values rather than external pressures. By limiting interactions with those who do not support our highest aspirations, we protect our virtue and stay aligned with our purpose. Subscribe to Stoic Strength Quest for practical insights on living a disciplined, purpose-driven life. Unlock ancient Stoic wisdom to strengthen your mindset, improve focus, and achieve your goals. Join our journey of self-mastery and personal growth today. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching. Until we meet next time.